back together now to the stand your ground hearing for Gerald Radford out of Florida. Radford is accused of a hate crime for shooting and killing a gay man, Walt Lay. But Radford says no, this was in self-defense. Let's take you back into that courtroom. The defendant, Gerald Radford, is now on the stand.
All right, raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me your name and date of birth.
Gerald, G-E-R-A-L-D, Declan, D-E-C-L-A-N, Radford, R-A-D-F-O-R-D. Birthday is 9/27/1958.
All right, and how old are you now?
66.
All right. And I want to know, you've been talking to your attorneys about whether or not you want to testify. I just want to make sure that you understand that there's absolutely no requirement that you do testify in this case. You have the absolute right to remain silent, and it's the state's burden to show by clear and convincing evidence that you were not engaged in self-defense at the time. Do you understand that?
I'm sorry, I missed the first part.
That it's your right to choose whether or not you testify.
Right.
You absolutely do not have to testify.
Right.
And it's the state's burden to show by clear and convincing evidence that you were not engaged in self-defense in this hearing. Do you understand all that?
Yes, ma'am.
And you've discussed it with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
And you're making a decision that you do want to testify?
On my own, yes, I made a decision to testify.
And that decision is freely and voluntarily?
Yes, ma'am.
Any questions about that?
No.
All right.
No.
Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Mr. Radford.
Good afternoon.
How long have you been going to the dog park that we've been discussing?
Probably 12, 13 years.
When you first started going to the dog park, did you know Walter Lay or the individuals in the morning crew?
Well, he didn't come to the dog park till much later. My recollection is about 4 years before the incident, 4 to 5 years, I guess.
So roughly 4 to 5 years before what brings us here today, the incident on February 2nd is when you first met Mr. Lay.
Yes.
Were things friendly between the two of you when you first met him?
Yeah, cordial. Not exactly friendly, but yeah, cordial.
Cordial.
Yeah. He's just one of the guys from the dog park.
And at that time, when you first met Mr. Lay, among some of the other people that we've either heard from today or were disclosed in discovery in this case, did everybody get along?
Yeah.
We've heard today that at some point in the year or so leading up to February 2nd of 2024, that the relationship between you and the other individuals at the dog park deteriorated.
Yeah, it was a bit further back than that. It was at least a couple of years.
Is it a fair statement to say that that was based mostly around, if not completely around, politics, COVID, vaccines, masks, things like that?
99%, yeah.
Did Mr. Lay ever open up to you and let you know that he was in fact gay?
Yes, he said it in front of a group of us. He said, I'm coming out. And I said, what's that mean? And he said, I'm gay at the dog park. I'm gay at the dog park. And
how far back are we talking relative to February 2nd of 2024?
Year and a half, 2 years, probably a little bit more.
What was your reaction, Mr. Radford?
I went over to him and said, why are you hiding it? It's 2024. Why aren't you know? Why don't you just? I don't like seeing people live in the dark about things. Just be yourself. And shook his hand.
So you had no issue with Mr. Lay being gay?
No.
Now, we have heard from a variety of witnesses today, and you've had the luxury of sitting through this hearing as the accused, and you've heard that these witnesses say that you have used terminology or slurs or homophobic statements in your communications with Mr. Lay?
Yes. Yes, I did.
And you acknowledge that?
Yes.
Did you dislike Mr. Lay because of his sexuality?
No.
Did you use those terms?
Yes.
Do you understand that those terms are offensive to people?
Yes, I do now, yeah.
Was there ever an occasion in the months or year leading up to February 2nd where Mr. Lay made statements or threats to you?
Yes.
And can you describe those for the court, please?
The one statement that a couple of people said, we're going to come to blows someday. And a few months after that, or maybe a month and a half after that, he said, it went from we're going to come to blows to I'm just going to kick your ass.
I'm sorry.
He said it went from we're going to come to blows to I'm just going to kick your ass. And then another few altercations after that, he said, I'm just going to cave your head in.
For clarity of the record, the first statement that you referenced other witnesses mentioning, we're going to come to blows. How far, roughly, before February 2nd of 2024 was that statement made?
I'm really not good with time frames like that, but probably a year.
Okay. The second statement you testified to the court was what? I'm going to kick your ass.
And
when was that statement made to you?
That was made like a few months after the first statement, 6 weeks to 2 months, 3 months.
The last statement about your kicking your skull?
Just going to crack break your skull in or something like that.
When was that said?
That was, it's been nearly 9 months since I was arrested. And 5 weeks before that was the incident. So I'm going to say a year ago.
So sometime in last December of 2023.
In November, December, around there.
Still with us to discuss criminal defense attorney Jeffrey Wolf. Jeffrey, did you notice one of the things, and it's all about the specific words used, that the defendant said was a couple of people said, we're going to come to blows someday. Well, I don't think it matters what anybody else said. It only matters what the victim said.
Yeah, absolutely. It matters what the victim told him. And one of the things that is so striking to me about this case is that this is all happening at a dog park, right? This isn't happening in his front yard. This isn't happening on his street. It's happening at a dog park. And I don't know about you, Judge Ashley, but if I'm going to the dog park and continually running into somebody who is escalating from we're going to come to blows one day to I'm going to kick your ass to I'm going to cave your skull in, I'm probably going to go to a different dog park rather than carrying my gun on me and hoping I don't have to shoot him one day. But that's where my credibility issues with this witness come into play.
And I don't know if that's our society now, but he testified, I've been going there 12 or 13 years. The victim going there the prior 4 to 5 years. I guess maybe he felt like, this is where I go to the dog park and I'm not going to stop. I don't know. Talk about the homophobic slurs, though, because in and of themselves, is the defendant saying to the victim homophobic slurs against the law? Is that a legal piece of this, or does it just point potentially to motive?
So the homophobic slurs within themselves are not against the law. You have a First Amendment right to say what you want to say, as morally reprehensible as it is to do such a thing. But that when you couple that with a crime committed against the person, that's when you get into a bias-motivated crime, otherwise known as a hate crime, which is what the prosecution is looking to add on to this case here. And so when you continuously harass somebody who is homosexual with an F-bomb like this guy is alleged to have been doing, then what you're going to look at is you're going to look at a prosecution saying, okay, now we're going to tack on the hate crime enhancer, which is going to enhance your sentence. And that's what they're looking to do, to say that the reason that you went after this guy is because he's a homosexual. And so, yeah, I mean, and then to sit there with a straight face and say, I didn't have any problems with him being homosexual, but yeah, I called him the F word multiple times, and I didn't even know that was an offensive term until now. Oh my gosh, let me clutch my pearls at that. Again, credibility is an issue when you testify, and as his lawyer, they might have wanted to come up with a better version of events than that before they put him on the stand.
I agree with you, because as we were listening, Jeffrey, and he did say, well, I understand now it's offensive. I didn't understand then. I thought, no, I think most people know that's offensive. So I don't think I quite believed when he said that. Just quickly, what do you think? Do you think so far you've seen enough evidence to say it's believable it was self-defense, stand your ground, or not?
No, it doesn't sound like it to me, not in the slightest. And I have a really tough time with Florida's stand your ground law generally, and this one doesn't seem to be passing muster. There's a lot of stuff on the other side of it. I know there's also some forensic evidence that's coming in on this case as well that's not going to point too well to it.
All right, that's a good tease, because we're going to see what happens next. Thank you so much, criminal defense attorney Jeffrey Walt, for joining me this hour. Coming up, Michael Ayala joining me for more testimony from the defendant, Gerald Radford. You don't want to miss what he has to say. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
PrettyLitter.com.
Court TV Live, I'm Ashley Wilcott.
And I'm Michael Ayala. We're both here today giving you your front row seat to justice. And we are in Florida this afternoon for the Dog Park murder trial.
Defendant Gerald Radford is accused of fatally shooting John Lay, known as Walt, at a dog park earlier this year.
Prosecutors say Radford repeatedly used homophobic slurs when talking about Lay and plan to seek additional hate crime penalties if Radford is convicted.
But the defense says that Radford was in fear for his life and that he shot in self-defense.
All right, want to get you folks back into court now for more of the Stand Your Ground hearing. Still on the stand is the defendant himself, testifying about his past interactions with the victim, Walt Lay.
Let's talk about who's at the dog park and when. How often did you go to the dog park?
Almost every day.
Almost every day.
Yeah.
Some weeks 5 or 6 days, other weeks 7 days a week?
Yes.
Did you ever go twice a day?
On rare occasions.
How often did you see Walt at the dog park?
4 or 5 days a week, I guess.
What time would you arrive at the dog park?
90% of the time, I'd be the first one there. Probably between 7 and 7:30.
Who would be the second to arrive on most occasions?
Walt.
Walt. So, is it fair of me to say or ask that for some time, at least until others arrive, you and Mr. Lay are at the dog park regularly, just the two of you?
Yes.
So while some witnesses have testified to certain things they may have heard Mr. Lay said, are there witnesses to some of the other statements that you've testified to the judge that Mr. Lay made to you?
I'm pretty sure that there was at least 3 or 4 other people that heard all 3 statements.
Okay.
Because he wasn't, he wasn't shy about anything.
Did you believe him when he made these statements to you?
No.
Okay, so you,
Not at all.
in the moment, in the year, 10 months and 3-4 months before this incident, when he says these things, in that moment, you didn't believe him?
No, sir.
You never thought that he would actually attack or tackle you?
I never thought he had the guts to tell you truth. I didn't think he would.
You've heard today witnesses say that they viewed you as aggressive, verbally aggressive. I think some of them acknowledged, I believe it was Mr. Gumpert, calling you.
And I admitted to it. I can be an
Did anything ever get physical between you and Mr. Lay at any time leading up to February 2nd?
No.
You've heard some talk about a text message today that was discovered on Mr. Lay's phone. You've also heard mention of the video that Mr. Lay recorded of himself. Were you aware that Walt had sent that text message when this incident took place?
Not at all.
You didn't become aware of that till recently?
Yeah, you told me. Actually, my wife told me, alluded to it on the phone, and then you told me in our meeting. Or was it Marie? I think it might have been Marie actually told me when she came up.
The state has played a variety of your interviews, some jail calls, where it appears that you've indicated that your memory is returning, you've been going to therapy. Can you describe for the court why there were additional details disclosed later on?
When it first happened, I couldn't even remember my own name. And it was all just a jumble of noises and me being on my back and him hammer fisting me in the face and neck.
So let's talk about that day, okay? On February 2nd of 2024, what do you do when you wake up in the morning?
Have a cup of tea usually, tea with honey, and if my wife's home, I talk to her, and then I usually have a shower and shoot out to the dog park.
What time did you head out to the dog park?
I was the first one there. I got there probably 7:30, 7:15.
What did you do?
I moped around.
And when you say moped around, is that because recently one of your dogs had passed?
Yeah, I have had 2 dogs from the same litter. My best friend Adam over there gave them to me. He owns their mom. They were born January 29th, and Vino, the smaller of the 2, died on January 24th, just before his 6th birthday, about 9 days before the incident.
When you say you moped around, is that how you're describing how you felt that morning as a result of?
Yeah, we just walked down to the other end of the park. I tried to get Whiskey and Vino, or the dog's names. Tried to get Whiskey to chase squirrels, and he's pretty miserable since his brother passed. Took him over to where the fence line is, and there's a little black dog that the 3 of them used to fence fight and run 50 yards each way, and barking and playing, and they had a real good time, and he was there, and Whiskey went barking and playing for 5 seconds, and then just turned and walked away. He didn't want to know.
After that, did you begin to make your way back towards the?
There's a clear area down the far end of the park, away from the pavilion, and then there's like a copse of trees, and then when you come out of the trees, there's that water pad with the 2 dog bathtubs in it, and we were walking probably 15 yards to the west of that platform with the dog baths on it, when I saw Paul's dog, and she kind of looks like Walt's dog, so I was like taken aback, and I went and verified to myself that it wasn't Walt's dog, so I relaxed.
Michael. I always like being on set with you, so I can ask you these questions. I noticed he had tears when he's describing the 2 dogs he owns from the same litter, but I haven't yet seen any tears about the victim.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, there was certainly some animosity between them, but we know Americans love their animals.
Yeah.
I mean, I would imagine this goes across the world.
Sure.
I mean, people have a real affinity for their animals, and I think the key is that animals really are helpless.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They cannot defend themselves, so people feel very strongly about it.
It's just interesting that's when his tears came out. And what is the judge going to think of that?